Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So this year, just like every other year in the state of California, we saw a whole host of new gun control laws get introduced into the state legislature. And I, for one, thought that a majority, if not all of these laws were going to pass and get signed by the governor because they have a super majority. There's not enough people to push back on this stuff, and obviously they have the governor's office. So they can really kind of just do whatever they want. But slowly over this year so far, I've been reporting on different bills that have either just completely dropped or they have been gutted and amended to be something completely different from what they were in the very beginning. They may have started out as something that was very bad for us and very bad for our rights, and then after a while they turn into something that's about the wine country and Napa Valley and stuff. I mean, something totally off of what the original bill's version was. Well, today I got two more for you. These are two very important ones that are now gone. So let's talk about them.
I've been proud. In the last couple of years, we've signed dozens of gun safety laws. Then, as some remember, Bonta leading the charge on a lot of gun restraining orders. Need to promote those and work we're doing with gun violence prevention, the $200+ million in this CalVIT program that can help highlight some of those laws that are on the books that we need to promote. We got a lot of work to do.
Okay, so let's go and talk about what's going on here. So the two bills that we're talking about today are AB3014 and AB667. Now, I thought for sure these two bills would end up going through and end up getting signed because California loves their confiscation. As a matter of fact, they brag every year about how well their red flags are doing and how many red flag confiscations they've made. There's certain counties in California that have more red flag confiscations than other states that have a similar system across the country. And that's, again, just on the county level. California loves to confiscate. So these two bills have to do with red flags, and it has to do with making red flag laws in California significantly worse. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at these two bills, and then we'll talk about why they failed, and then we'll talk about why I think we're going to see a lot more fail in the next legislative session. So this bill right here was bad because it looked to extend the amount of time that they could red flag you. Right now, it's 5 years. I mean, if you go on appeals and things like that and they give you more extensions, then you could be 5 years without any of your rights. This looked to double that. It says this bill would increase the renewal period to a maximum of 10 years instead of 5 if the subject of the petition poses a significant danger of self-harm or harm to another in the near future by having a firearm, and the order is necessary to prevent personal injury to the subject of the petition or another. By expanding the scope of an existing crime, this bill would impose a state-mandated local program. Now, this next one is also very bad because it increases the number of people who can request a red flag against you and also let the state of California into your mental health care to work against you as well. So it says here, this bill would additionally authorize a district attorney to request that a court issue a temporary emergency gun violence restraining order. This bill would make other conforming changes. And if we go below here, it says this bill would additionally allow a mental health practitioner to report the identity of a person prohibited from possessing a firearm or other deadly weapon to a district attorney, and would additionally authorize a district attorney to file the petition to determine if the person should continue to be prohibited from possessing a firearm or other deadly weapon. I mean, listen, California takes this as far as they can. As a matter of fact, in California, if you're one of those qualifying people that can actually file for a GVRO against somebody, you don't even have to have seen them for the last 6 months. They give you a 6-month grace period. So let's say you run into somebody, right, and then time goes on. A half a year later down the road, you say, oh, I remember so-and-so. I'm going to file a GVRO against them. You have time in that 6-month window to do that. Even if it is 5 months and 28 days, you could do that. That's how far California has gone with this stuff. But let's go ahead and talk about why these failed. Well, these failed because they just simply didn't make the time deadline before the legislative session ended in the state of California. As a matter of fact, these were pretty much gone right before the legislative session ended. Here is the main reason why we've been making these videos and why these things have been falling off. Surprisingly, it has nothing to do with what you probably think. It has to do with the state budget. So as I'm sure you're aware, there is a massive budget deficit in the state of California. That means that there's not that much money to go around to programs that already exist. Things have to be cut, things have to be cut back, right? Well, each time you create a new law, that new law costs money. It costs money to implement it. It costs money to come up with the different systems that need to run it. It costs money when you pass a law. So if they were to pass a bunch of these different laws that would mandate some new background checks, or if they were to come up with a new law that said that there was going to be new registration, or everybody was going to have to go through the permitting process all over again, or whatever it is, they have to find the money to fund those new programs. And each time they get a bill like this, it costs a lot of money. If you remember, California tried to pass a law this year that would make everybody register every firearm they have in the entire state every single year. Can you imagine the manpower, the time, the hours, the physical people that would need to be there at a physical computer, and all of the different things that it would take in order to implement something like that? The cost must be absolutely outrageous. Well, with a deficit, there's no way to get the funds to implement something like that, so it has to become something else. And as long as there is this massive budget deficit, I don't see any of these high cost types of gun control going through. It's just too difficult for them to say, okay, we're having a hard time doing this, A, B, and C, and funding these different programs. Let's go ahead and start up another one. Now, that's not to say that later on down the road, we might see these things get reintroduced, more than likely, because every single legislative session in the state of California, we see these things get introduced. But at least as of right now, it makes the chances of them actually passing lesser and lesser and lesser, because the cost is just getting higher and higher and higher to implement that. So as of right now, it seems like the budget deficit is actually helping us. And until people actually get off the couch and they go and they do their job and they put the correct people in the correct places where they're supposed to be, who actually believe in the Constitution and freedom, this type of stuff is just going to continue to happen. We know that. There needs to be a top-down change, but it's going to take a lot of people who don't usually do anything to finally do something for that to happen. Nonetheless, that's why we're seeing all of these gun amends. That's why we're seeing all of these bills fail. That's why they're seeing all these bills go to the wayside that I thought for sure would pass, because, well, they just simply can't afford it. So I wanted to let you guys know about those two today, two very important ones, because, again, California loves their confiscation. So thank you all very much for watching. Remember, if you haven't done so already, it does help the channel greatly if you hit that subscribe button. Thumbs ups are always appreciated. It lets us know that we're actually doing something that you guys appreciate here, and so it's nice to see that. Anyway, I want to thank you all very much again. Have a great day.